But tonight is our speaker, or Jeri is our speaker. She came all the way from Florida, guys. And it was her birthday yesterday. So wish her happy birthday. One quick thing, tip the bartender, guys. He's busting his butt for us. He normally doesn't work these nights, he works weekends, so tip him good. But here's Jeri.
Thanks. Should I just use this?
Use this one.
Both of them? Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. So I did come all the way from Florida, but I had another reason. My niece graduated from high school yesterday. So not just to see you guys, but largely to see you guys. Josh and I have been trying to get this together for several months, maybe a year. So thanks for having me. So I know who I'm speaking to tonight. Just by a show of hands, who in here has a decent real estate portfolio? You're happy where it's at? Okay. Who in here has a real estate portfolio, but you would like to grow it, move up to the next level? Okay. And who in here is wanting to have an investment property one day? Okay, awesome. Good. Well, so I want to thank you guys all for coming out. I know the life of a real estate investor, especially if you have another job, and it's not always easy to make it to things like this. So thank you for coming. I promise you that I will do my best tonight to ensure that what I share with you is valuable not only to your real estate investing career, but also to your life. So I want to start by doing a little exercise. Actually, first, if you have seen me speak before, or you've seen anybody else do any of the exercises I'm going to do tonight, can I get agreement that you will not participate if you know the answer, so that the people who haven't ever experienced it can have their experience, their authentic experience?
I want to look smart.
Jim has seen me speak a couple times, so are we in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to start by making an offer to you. I have a $20 bill here, and I will trade this $20 bill for a $1 bill. I'll trade this $20 bill for a $1 bill. Hi, Ed.
Hi.
Just one. Thank you. You're very generous. You tried to give me two. Nice to meet you.
That's sweet.
So, Ed, let me ask you a question first before you sit down. Is it $20 real? Does it look real?
Yeah, that's real. It's real.
And was that hard?
No.
Was that hard? That's like a 2,000% return right there. Was that hard?
That's good. That's good.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so for all the rest of you, what stopped you from coming up here and getting that 2,000% return?
I don't have a dollar bill on it.
So you're not prepared. Got it. What else? Okay, fair. He's seen me do this before. How about, what?
I just want more details.
You need more details.
Lose and lose.
Analyze too much. How about you didn't want to come up and look silly in case it wasn't true? Too good to be true. Somebody else will do it, right? Maybe I've hit your reason. I want you to take a moment and honestly write down the reasons that you didn't come up here. Tonight we're going to talk about the biggest difference between the people who are successful and go gangbusters in real estate investing, or really whatever it is they want to do, and the people who come to the meetings and get all the information and never really do it. I have been in real estate for 25 years now, been investing for over half of those. My husband and I we have a real estate investment fund, we have a couple syndications, we have apartments, single family homes, construction company. We own a part of Realty One Group now. We used to have a real estate team that we combined. We have a property management company, lots of different things. And over the years, we always would get asked the question, Why are some people successful and some people aren't? Because we all know people that get all the information and yet never really do that much with it. And then we also know people who don't get a lot of information. They just basically hear, like, you can make money from real estate, and next thing you know, they have 1,000 doors and they're crushing it. And what is the difference? And the only difference that we've ever been able to discern is whether they believe they can or they believe they can't. It's literally all the thoughts in our mind that stop us. And so this was a, silly little exercise, but I guarantee that whatever stopped you from coming up here is the thing that stops you in your real estate investing career from getting started or from moving to the next level. And so I really honestly want you to take some notes tonight. We're going to use this throughout the night, but write down whatever came up in your mind. Too good to be true. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I need more information or not prepared. And honestly, in all fairness, I never carry cash either. I had to borrow that from my husband. So it's good. It's good to have a partner who is prepared, right? So let me have a drink. So with anything that you want in life, I want you to think about this. There are studies that have been done over the years. I don't know who the people are that do these studies, but studies have decided that 95% of our thinking, behavior, beliefs, the way that we act is formed by the time we're 18 years old. I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to be ran by 18-year-old Jeri. The scariest part is that they've also decided that our brains are not fully formed until we're well into our 20s. For women around age 24 and for men around age 27. I'm just the messenger, guys. But what that tells us is that we are being ran by a child who doesn't have a fully functioning brain. We have 5% of ourselves to actually make adult decisions with, unless we recognize that we are ran by a child and do something about it. So let's think about that for a minute, because they actually say that 50% of our thoughts, behaviors, and beliefs about the world are formed by the time we're 5. So how many of you are parents or have small children now or did at one time? I'm way too old to have a 4-year-old, but I have a 4-year-old. He's adopted, and he has a ton of energy. I wish I had half of his energy. But think about a 4-year-old. Does a 4-year-old know what they want? Yeah, they know what they want, and they will tell you like this. Mommy, 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 mommy. Are you listening, mommy? Mommy, mommy, mommy. Because they know what they want. But when I ask adults, what do you want? I get these kind of responses. I'm good. I don't know. Nothing. Or if they know what they want, it's a sheepish, well, I kind of want to do this, but that we're afraid to tell people. Because we're not just ran by the 4-year-old who, wants what they want. We're ran by the adult version of that 4-year-old who's been told no too many times, or who's had hard things happen, or who's learned all the reasons maybe why not, right? But it's important to get clear on your vision, because if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what you want, how will you get there? Does that make sense? So I was talking with Megan earlier. She had the opportunity to work with Brandon with Bigger Pockets. You guys should all know who that is. I hope you listen to his podcast. It's incredible. But Brandon he has at least one podcast episode where he talks about vivid visioning. Vivid Vision is a book. I highly recommend that you get it. I recommend that you get the audio version because you get the gist after about 3 chapters. You don't really need to read the whole entire book. But the idea is that you write down your vision 3 years in the future, but you write it first person. So you're projecting 3 years into the future and saying, I am so grateful. This is how my life is now. This is how my business is. This is my family. And it's called vivid vision because the more vivid you make it, the more realistic it seems and the more likely it is to come true. And then with your vivid vision, you take and you tell people about it. So how many of you are real estate investors or want to be real estate investors and people don't necessarily know? We have a tendency to not tell people what we're doing because we think they know, but they don't know. They're not paying attention to what you're doing, I promise. Even your mom and dad probably don't necessarily know if you buy houses. My stepdad, my husband and I have been investing for 10 years, and one day he started talking to us about how you can't make money in real estate. And he's the kind of guy that it's his way or the highway, so we just politely nodded, and we're like, does he know what we do? Like, they don't know, they're not paying attention. And so you have to be telling them. If you're a real estate agent, I used to tell my agents this all the time. If you're a real estate agent, your client also has a mom or a friend or a brother or a cousin or a coworker who's also a real estate agent. If you're not telling them that that's what you do, you're not going to be top of mind. And it's the same thing with real estate investing. So when somebody's next door neighbor house sells, they got to think of you. And if you're not telling people what your vision is, they won't know. When we were surprised a few years back, we have all these different businesses that we were running, and we just thought everybody understood what we were doing and where we were going. And we started creating the vision with our team, and all of our managers didn't even know for sure what was the vision and where we were going, let alone our vendors and so forth. And so you can imagine how less likely it is to happen if you're not letting people know where you're going, right? Another thing is vision boards. So vision boards a lot of times I think seem really silly, especially to guys, because the concept of a vision board is that you're like cutting out pictures out of a magazine or printing them off the internet, whatever, and putting them up on a board somewhere that you can see them regularly. But Steve Harvey, who we all know, he's incredible. I don't know how this man keeps up with everything that he does on a daily basis. He credits much of his success to vision boards. And so even if it seems silly, it's probably something that you should consider when other successful people are telling you to do it, right? The concept of both of these, the vision board, this is our conscious mind. So this is what we function, how we make decisions, logical decisions every day. And then we have our unconscious mind. And then if you believe in a higher power, we have the superconscious, which is connected to source or creator, whatever. I am that person, as you can probably imagine, who likes to talk politics, money, and religion. So if you want to do that, we can do that later. But our conscious mind, this part, is the part that makes logical decisions and sets goals. Our unconscious mind is everything else. So the scientists say that our unconscious mind processes, whoa, that doesn't work, 2 billion bits of information per day. And so what that means is the unconscious mind is seeing like any marks in the wall, any marks on the floor, what everybody in here is wearing, every intonation of my voice. But our conscious mind can only process 126 bits of information at any given time. And so the unconscious mind, or the conscious mind sets the goal, the unconscious mind figures out a way to make it happen. And so that's why we're feeding ourselves visions and writing out our vivid vision. And the more that we feed it, the more it believes it's going to happen and makes it happen for the conscious mind. Does that make sense? Going back to our 4-year-old, does a 4-year-old know, or does a 4-year-old want what they want when they want it? Or do they want it, after school, or when they graduate from kindergarten, or when they grow up and their kids graduate from high school? No, a 4-year-old wants what they want when they want it, and they figure out how to get it. My 4-year-old has a sweet tooth. He will ask me for the cupcake, then he'll ask his sisters, then he'll ask my husband, who usually says yes. Then he'll go across the street and ask the neighbor. And if everyone says no, he just climbs up the cabinet and the refrigerator and finds what I hid and eats it. What do adults do? Adults are always getting ready to get ready. Oh, I'm going to do that someday. I'm going to take that trip one day. I'm going to buy a house once my boss gives me a raise. I'm going to, whatever it is. You can imagine, we're always getting ready to get ready. We always someday. But the truth is, all we have is now. So a lot of you raised your hands, you want to buy a real estate property. Why aren't you doing it now? Now, it needs to happen, not someday. And then the final thing that a 4-year-old does, sorry, I need water. So they know what they want it when they want it, and they're very clear on getting it. When I ask people, all the time I get people don't know what they want to do, they're going to do it someday, and they have an excuse for why not. My 4-year-old, if he wants something, he believes he should have it, 100,000%. Like, there's no in this kid's vocabulary. But adults, we make up no's before we even try, don't we? I'm not going to ask that girl out. She'll never say yes. I'm not going to ask my boss for a raise. What if he says no? I'm not going to make an offer on that house. They already had 6 offers by Friday. What are the no's that you're making up instead of just moving forward and trying? Because I had this experience with my daughters recently. I say no a lot because my husband says yes way too much. And so they said they wanted to ask for something, and we would have given it to them, and they didn't ask. They said, "Oh, Mom will never let us have that." And I was like, "Well, you don't get 100% of the things you don't ask for." So that was a good lesson for them. But we do that all the time. I see that all the time with real estate investing. People are afraid to ask a lender. They're afraid to ask for a hard money lender. They're afraid to ask their mom for money. They're just afraid to go for it. So instead of going for it, they don't. And would you rather be uncomfortable for a minute, or would you rather be uncomfortable at the end of your time, you're on your deathbed or whenever it is, and you realize that you didn't live the life that you were meant to live or that you dreamed of? That's really the difference. It's a little uncomfortable now, or a lot uncomfortable later, regrets later. And I propose that we all get a little bit uncomfortable now and go for it. So think of something. I'm going to ask you to write down again. You guys are not very good students. I don't think anybody wrote down last time. So I'm watching you. Write down something that you want, whatever it is, whether it's real estate related or life related. I want you to write down something that you want, that you don't have. And now, if you've gotten that written down, I want you to write down all the reasons why you don't have it. Make sure that you include on the reasons that you didn't come up and get the $20 bill, because I guarantee that's part of the reason that you don't have this thing. This can be an exercise that I encourage you to do at home too. Like, really go home and write down all the reasons that you don't have what you want. Because those reasons aren't just showing up in one area of your life. If it's a reason in one area of your life, it's a reason in all the areas. Our minds are actually very simple. They want to create patterns, and they want to make things simple. And so we create habits and patterns, and it's the same thing with our limiting beliefs and the things that hold us back from getting what we want in life. You don't probably have 50 of them. You probably have 5. and maybe 5 lesser ones, but 5 that kind of run the show. Can we agree if we went around this entire room and asked everybody for the reasons that they wrote down, that we would get at least 20 different reasons, maybe 50, maybe hundreds of different reasons? There's a million reasons out there why people don't have what they want, but frankly, they're all just a bunch of bullshit. There is somebody out there, I guarantee you, who has overcome every single reason that you can give, every single one of them. And sometimes that's hard because our reasons run our life. They justify where we're at, regardless of where we want to be. And some of them are really valid. You know, some of them feel really valid. But have you guys ever heard of the limbless pastor? Nick Vujicic? Look him up, the limbless pastor. This is a man who was born with no arms and no legs. He's literally got like a torso with a couple feet kind of coming out of them. No arms, no legs. Can you imagine what it was like when he was born? Because he's in his 40s. So 40 some years ago, I guarantee the doctors weren't like encouraging his parents. They probably encouraged his parents to put him in a facility to help him, you know, to help care for him because he wasn't ever going to become something. And I don't know the story about his parents, but his parents must have been amazing because he is an international speaker, author, he's a pastor, speaks all over the world. He's married to a beautiful woman and they have 4 children now. So that man overcame a lot to achieve his dreams. I've known 20-year-olds in real estate who are crushing it that have private planes, you know? And I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people personally who was too young until I was too old, you know? And is that you? Like that was often one of my excuses. My husband forgets how old he is. He always has to ask me how old I am. I wish that was the case for me, but it's not. But the truth is there's a million different reasons, but there's somebody who's overcome all of them. And wherever you are today is just simply a direct reflection of your thoughts and your beliefs. You could not have any different situation in your life than what you have right now, and that's fine. Your current thoughts, your current beliefs dictate your current results. And the only way to change them is to become aware of them. So I'm going to draw something else up here. I should have brought better markers. But I'm going to give you an example of what I mean with your thoughts create your reality or your results. Sorry, that noise. That is so loud. That won't go on there. Okay. So here's your thoughts, beliefs, your inner core of what you think about life, what you think about yourself, what you think about how the world works. So these are what, you know, when we talked about the 4-year-old, 50% of this, what you're functioning with now, was created by the time that you were 5. So think about how are your thoughts? Are your thoughts, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm happy, I love myself, I love my life, or are they negative? You know, are they, I'm not smart enough, I'm not prepared, I can't figure this out, I'm not a good public speaker, whatever it is, you know, that has your beliefs. There is possibly, some people believe there's core beliefs that go a little bit deeper, and this has to do with like where you were born. You know, can you all imagine that those of us born in the Midwest in America have a little bit different worldview than somebody that's, say, born in China? Like we eat different foods, you know, there's a little bit of that is just like your core beliefs based on the culture that you're born into. But your thoughts and beliefs, your habits, these are formed as you grow, and they're formed by things that you experience and things that other people tell you, like your parents or all the no's that you heard, those types of things. So your thoughts dictate your feelings or your emotions. So you can imagine if you have positive thoughts, you're going to be a happier person. You're going to be a little bit more lit up and excited than somebody who's always down on themselves and negative about things. Your feelings and emotions then dictate your actions and your behaviors. And your actions and behaviors dictate your results. So, real estate related example. I, as a realtor, call you up and tell you, I've got a 100-unit property for $100,000. Let's do $300,000. Regardless, it's ridiculous, right? But I'm excited about it, and I say, I've seen it, and you need to come and see it. If you have negative thoughts and beliefs, you're going to be like, that is crazy. That must be a shithole. It'll cost too much to fix it up. I don't even want to look at it. Or somebody, if it's really that good, somebody else will get it. How many other people did she tell? There's no way I can act that fast, blah, 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 blah. So those are your thoughts and beliefs. So your feelings are going to be negative. Your actions are going to be you don't go out of your house to go look at it because why? What's the point? Your results are you don't get the property. If your thoughts and beliefs are positive and you've seen this deal before and you know me and you trust me, you're going to get your butt off the couch. You're going to be excited because it's a possibility. You're going to get your butt off the couch and you're going to write an offer on the way there, and your results might be that you get the property, right? So the positive thing is that we can change our thoughts and beliefs. We just have to become aware of them. And that is why I'm so passionate about sharing this information. It always seems a little bit silly in a real estate investors meeting, but the truth is I've seen so many people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on getting real estate information, and I've literally seen multiple people who spent tens of thousands of dollars about 10 years ago, spent their retirement and never bought a single house. And it's all because of this. And it's my passion to make sure that that doesn't happen to anybody in going forward. And so I hope that makes sense with that. I have one more exercise that I want to do. When you guys are thinking about this as I'm talking about it, throw out some excuses, some thoughts, some beliefs that you have about real estate investing. So, or say yes if I hit on one. Debt is bad. Who has that belief? Nobody? Liars. Somebody does. Somebody always does. How about I have to have a W-2 job in order to pay my bills? Yeah? Okay. How about I don't know enough people? I don't know anybody who would possibly want to partner with me. Yeah? Interest rates are too high. Thank you. What else? Come on, you guys. You know you have some. Participation.
I'm afraid to look into loans to find out how much I can get.
Oh, that's a common one. So he said he's afraid to look into loans to find out how much you can get. I guarantee you'll be pleasantly surprised. Always happens. And don't just ask one lender. You got to ask multiple lenders. So some of the how-to. Real estate lenders, it's more difficult right now than it was a couple years ago to get loans, of course. The market has changed slightly. But real estate lenders, banks always have a certain amount of money that they can loan per asset class and per individual or company. And so just because one bank tells you one thing doesn't mean you can't go to the next one and ask them too. We've had, over the years of investing, we've had times where we're like, okay, you've reached your max. Okay, great. I go to the next bank, reach my max there. It's just asking. What if they say yes? Yay. Okay, what else do we have? Like, it's too hard to find good properties today. How's that? That's a big one, right? I don't know any contractors, or I don't know how to do it myself. I need 3 more. Too much competition. Not enough time. Oh, that's a good one. Does anybody have the one, maybe not so much in real estate investing, but no one else in your family has ever done it? If you're really honest, do you have, yeah, there can be a lot of guilt with that. It's hard to do more than people in our own family have done. However, somebody's got to break the cycle, right? I want you guys to write, I hope you have a pen and paper. I want you to write 9 dots. And then what we're going to do, my challenge to you, is to connect these 9 dots using 4 contiguous lines. And each line can only go through 1 dot once. Try as many times as you need. If you don't have a pen and paper, just try to do it. Did my green one work? Let me know if you think you get it. Do you know it? Have you done it before? Okay. Everybody always wants to try this one at home, even after I show it. So, does anybody think they got it? Yes? Do you? Did you do it? Okay. I thought you said yes. Okay, ready? Can everybody see that? Every time people see this for the first time, they want to make those dots into a box. Yeah, every single time. So don't beat yourself up. Everybody does it. But this is just an illustration of what I'm saying. You cannot have different results than your current thinking allows you to. But here's your dreams. Here's the things you want out here. But you're keeping yourself in this box because that's all that you know. It's actually not easier, or not harder, to do $1 million deals than it is to do $100,000 deals. Banks want to lend you money. What's hard is when you bump up against your imaginary border. That breakthrough of that border is what's hard. But then when you get over here on the other side, you're like, whoa, why does everybody make it seem so hard? It's not that hard out here. This is where your dreams and goals are. Now, if somebody tells you to think outside the box, that's a fallacy. You can't think outside the box. We all have a box. We just have smaller or bigger boxes. So once you break out here, now all of a sudden you have this box. But then you find somebody who's out here doing something that you want to do that helps you break through this barrier, and all of a sudden you have goals out here. And then your box becomes a little bit bigger. So the challenge is to always be finding somebody, something, podcasts, whatever it is, books, whatever it is, so that you have an example of somebody that is doing something bigger. That's why these meetings are so important, because you can come here and get excited by somebody that you know, that you met, who's doing something that you want to do. You know, somebody like me, who you meet me and you realize, I'm really no smarter than any of you guys. I just have a little bit bigger capacity for risk. I've just broken through this box a few more times than you have. You know, there's other people in this room that have done the same thing. My husband and I always are looking for mentors. We're always have a mentor, coach in every different area of our life. but we're also always looking for ways to challenge ourselves, to break through that box. Skydiving, scuba diving. We jumped off the stratosphere one year in Las Vegas. Highly recommended. I still use that sometimes when I'm like, holy shit, okay, just take that step. But, it's just all of those kind of things, just break that box and expand it a little bit more. This year, we moved to Florida. It was always a dream of ours, and we didn't think we were going to do it. We kind of got a little pushed into doing it, honestly. And it just expanded my box 10 times. And I'll tell you what, you guys, I teach this, and I was bumping up against my box. Oh my gosh, it was difficult to say the least. But when I broke through, I'm like, whoa, now we're talking about maybe spending a month in Croatia, a month in Panama. Like, what can we do next, Your dreams are out here. So I challenge you to break through the box, whatever you need to do that. So I'm going to leave you with two of my favorite exercises that I like to encourage people to do because it really helps with breaking through that box. And the first one is, we've talked tonight about a lot of limiting beliefs. And I honestly hope that you took some time to make note of what came up for you tonight, because it's really not silly. Those are the things that will change your life. When you can address those things, they will change your life. Those limiting beliefs, take the time, preferably tonight after this because it's fresh in your mind, and make a list of all the limiting beliefs. Just let it all come out. So we want a list of the limiting beliefs. And then you're going to take another piece of paper, cross out each limiting belief, and put a positive on the other side. So for every single limiting belief, a positive. So if, I don't have enough money, I am abundant. Whatever it is, each one. I'm not smart enough, I have access to all the wisdom in the world. Each one, okay? And then once you've crossed out that whole limiting beliefs list, burn it. Sounds silly, but it's not. The limiting beliefs, of course, don't just go away because you cross them off and burn them. But what it does is it creates an anchor in your brain. So it creates a pattern interrupt and then an anchor. And so every time you have a limiting belief come up, you can go, no, I addressed that and I burned it. And you can switch. What happens until you do something like that is that these limiting beliefs literally just run our life and we don't even realize it. We just don't realize it because it's easy to tell your friends and family your limiting beliefs and they just believe you. They just go along, oh yeah, that really sucks that you got divorced or, whatever. They want to feel sorry for you. So these beliefs, these patterns that just continually run our life actually form ridges in our brain that the synapses between the brain cells follow these ridges. And so it just becomes easier and easier for our brain to think like that. But when you cross it off, write a positive, and then burn the negative, next time that belief comes up, you have a reason to say, okay, no, I recognize I had that belief. I'm going to change it. And then the more often you do that, you start to create a new pattern. So it actually scientifically works. It's not just all woo-woo. The other thing I want to leave you with is, I've talked about this a little bit tonight, but the power of now. There's actually a book called The Power of Now, if this resonates with you. But think about the fact that we literally have only right now. The past has happened. You can let it continue to run your life, or you can be in now. What do you want to be now? The future isn't guaranteed. Nobody knows. You literally don't know if on the way home you don't make it home tonight. And so really sit with that. Like, what would you do if you went to the doctor and they told you that you have 6 months to live? What would you do? And I find people fascinating. I think it's fascinating that as a human race, that is the truth. It can happen at any moment where that's your last breath, but we live our life as if it will never happen. We go about our days like we talked about earlier. Someday I'll do that. Someday I'll do this. Well, what if you knew you didn't have much of a someday? what would you do? You know, would you buy the 100 unit for $300,000 so that you could create that legacy for your children? Would you call your sister who you haven't talked to in 5 years? You know, would you adopt that child even though you're 45 and too old for a 4-year-old at 49? You know, but what would you do? And I think it's so important because if, you know, relating it back to real estate, if that's really what you want to do, why do you want to do it? And why aren't you doing it? Because there's just no reason. There's a million people in here, not a million, there's 30 people in here that you could partner with. There's at least 30 people that you know outside of here that you could partner with that could help you find properties. Come talk to me. I guarantee I know somebody who's gotten through every single reason that you have for not doing it so far. And like I said, my passion is to free people. If you have a dream that you want to do, why aren't you doing it? You know, why are you still at your W-2 job? There's no reason. There's literally no reason. Real estate is the most incredible way for the average person to make money. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your background. Literally anybody can create wealth with real estate, but you just have to do it, and you just have to believe that you can. So thanks for listening to me tonight, you guys. If you have any questions, I'll be here the rest of the night until you leave, and Josh can share my information with you. And thank you so much for being here.